Welcome back to another daily discussion. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, Brian Haugli here. Welcome back to CISA Life Daily Discussion, sponsored by Side Channel. Let's see what we've got going on in the latest and greatest in the news. Currently, U.S. government warns of the Daixin Team targeting healthcare organizations. Looks pretty part and parcel and standard to what we've seen kind of across the board from other groups, other teams. Seems like this group is reusing some code base from the Babic Locker source code, and they're primarily targeting VPN servers with known vulnerabilities, also compromising VPN credentials with MFA to access VPN. Then once inside, using RDP and SSH to move laterally throughout the network. Again, pretty standard stuff. I don't think anything in this report in this group is unique to what this attacker is going on about as far as a TTP, tactics, techniques, and procedures. But I think it reemphasizes the point of where are people getting hit the most. One is interesting here is obviously it's healthcare organizations, right? So they've zeroed in on the healthcare sector, the U.S. healthcare and public healthcare sector with a ransomware attack. They are using VPNs as their entry point, and whether it's vulnerability in the VPN server and system, or it's just using compromised VPN credentials to be able to then access the VPN. And then from there, using RDP and SSH, right? Remote Desk Protocol, which is a Windows application to be able to go from system to system, remotely manage systems, or Secure Shell, which is your upgrade from Telnet. It's been around forever. And obviously they're using this to probably by reusing those VPN credentials, potentially of admins, or they're dropping the admin credentials or other credentials from systems to then be able to log in laterally throughout the network. From there, they're able to then deploy a ransomware payload. And then ideally, it looks like they're going after, their main target is VMware vCenter and ESXi servers to be able to lock those down. So, if I'm a healthcare organization, one, I'm waking up and thinking, all right, this is real. This is happening to me. What do I do about that, right? And I'm looking for securing my VPN. I'm making sure that my entry points are patched. I'm making sure that my passwords are unique or are complex. If I can't have MFA, but why you wouldn't have MFA on VPN, I'm not sure. And I'm making sure that VPN is in place for that remote access. I'm training my users on how to report and see either phishing, which can lead to those compromised credentials, or I'm training them on MFA fatigue, where someone just is hammering the MFA button until you say, you know what, I think that is me, and I click accept, and I let the bad guy in. So I think this is a great use case to be able to look across what can be done and what can be done about those attacks if you're in the healthcare. I mean, seems pretty straightforward to me. I mean, it's laying out right here exactly what you can go do to protect yourself, what to be looking for inside of your network if you do suspect that you have been compromised, or if you're just looking for someone who's trying to maneuver and position a beachhead or a way to be able to come back later, or they're just taking their sweet time, being able to then actually find systems of ransomware. Not everybody just gets in and immediately it's full compromise of the network. Some attackers need to take time to be able to go through these things. So anyway, an idea right there for not only just healthcare, but obviously healthcare keeping this in mind, but really anybody looking at these TTPs, these issues, right? Another great one is 4 ways to achieve comprehensive security. I thought this was a pretty good report from the from Dark Reading. So shout out to Mark Samos for Microsoft for putting this together. He goes on in his Dark Reading article, really kind of outlines the four methods, right? Commit to a zero trust strategy, manage compliance, risk, and privacy, use combination of XDR and SIM tools, we'll get into that in a second, and use MFA wherever and whenever possible. So let's break that down. What does a zero trust strategy look like? His approach, as he outlines, is based on three guiding principles, right? Verify explicitity, use least privilege access, and assume breach. So instead of, like he says, instead of leaving everything behind a corporate firewall as safe, you have to assume that you've been breached, verify each request inside. So you think of it as if your network was an open network. You need to challenge everyone doing everything, every system doing everything, every process doing everything, really at all times. Now that sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but it's not unattainable. So looking at your internal infrastructure processes, are you micro-segmenting your network? Are you putting in up-leveling challenges in access? Are you separating your users from your admins on their ability to access? And are you challenging appropriately? And then are you just operating a network architecture that allows you to assume that you have bad guys or girls in there doing bad things? So taking that as a zero trust, right? Zero trust is not a product. It is a concept, an approach, a strategy, whatever you want, but it is not a product, right? Be aware of that. The second area that he really hones in on is managing compliance, risk, and privacy, right? So it's great to go implement all of these solutions and all of these things, but really, how are we making sure that we have a structure in place to, control, manage compliance aspects, risk, and privacy? These require really kind of tuned processes to make sure you're meeting regulations, meeting your compliance. Now, I know compliance is not security. That's one of the oldest things kind of in the book as far as like what we are, been saying for years, but it's not something to just be ignored because you're like, oh, well, we're building a security program, we don't need to be compliant. No, you're wrong. You do need to build a compliance program. You do need to build a foundational basis. You need to build your security on top of that. You need to take your lessons learned, the wins out of the compliance, and bubble them up into your security practice. Use obviously SIM and XDR solutions. These are just kind of the new, ever growing, ever popular, new next generation way of collecting data and then doing something about it. Right. So ideally, you're collecting data into an aggregated, screen or space or something. Right. You're collapsing all of that. You've got solutions that allow you to actually get deeper insights, and you're able to actually orchestrate any type of lower level processes and get your higher paid or your paid people into a better hunting or remediation or any type of like detection and response capability. So what you like to see is, as you do a process 1 to 3 or 4 or 5 times, put that on a board. That's ripe for automation. Don't jump into automation, jump into what you want to automate. Watch your analysts do tasks. Challenge them about why they keep doing that same thing every time. Can that be automated? That's where SOAR really comes in. And then last but not least, out of his 4 points that he brings up, is obviously using MFA whenever and wherever possible. This seems to be a basic and a necessity, and dare I say kind of day one work, but it's still ignored enough that one of the architects from Microsoft has to include it to remind us all that it's an area we need to implement. So it obviously adds a layer of protection. It doesn't stop all attacks, but it does significantly reduce. It will, if properly managed, it will actually, better secure your environment. So please just enable MFA. Anyway, Brian Haugli with the daily discussion from CISO Life. You can check us out anywhere on social media land, right down here below. Follow me on Twitter, catch me here on LinkedIn, right off of here. The Feedly link to this discussion and all the other articles I've ever covered are listed, right, and linked in the comments. Take care. See you next time. Be good.